Boarding school, a school which provides accommodation and meals for pupils during term time, more like an Airbnb that offers food and education. For me, boarding school felt like a military camp. It felt like a survival for the fittest TV series, at least a lighter version of it. It wasn't like this all the time, but most of the time I felt like this. But when I joined boarding school, this was not how I felt. Let me first introduce the show and then we'll get back to how I felt and what happened.
Good morning, guys. How you doing? If you're new here, karibu sana. I go by the name Vivian Odhiambo, aka Fashion Guru Kenya, aka Mtoto wa Homa Bay County. Now let's talk about boarding school today. To me, boarding school felt like you snooze, you lose kind of environment.
This is not how I used to feel about boarding school. Let's go back to my first day at school.
So when my mom told me that I was going to a boarding school, I was so excited. Yani, I couldn't wait. Based on the stories that I was hearing, I couldn't wait to get away from home because I'd been schooling and going back home all through my primary school. So I was super excited, and the fact that people woke up very early in the morning to go and study, and all these activities I had that they were going for in school, basketball, drama, music. I was super excited. So the first day I entered into those gates, I was like, wow, this is where my future is. And I knew that education was the key, so I was ready for it. By the way, I really loved exams during school. Like, I loved studying, I loved exams. Yeah. Okay, so my mom took me to school, everything was checked, and then I was given someone to show me around, and I was just in time for dinner. So I was taken to the dining hall to go and serve. So I served skuma and ugali, and that food was nasty. It was so bad. I gave out my food, and then that form 4 looked at me and smiled like, utazoya too, you'll get used to it. And let me tell you, yes, nilizoya. By next week I was scrambling for that food like my life depended on it. And yes, my life depended on that food to survive. So fast forward, I couldn't wait to get out of that school. Like, every time I was like, whew, it's end of the term, we are going home. Yes, yes, yes.
Now, let me tell you why I felt this way. You remember me saying you snooze, you lose kind of environment? Let's continue with that story.
To me, boarding school felt like you snooze, you lose kind of environment. At least the school that I went to and my experience, I think if some of these things were removed, I would have really enjoyed boarding school. But listen, this is how it was for me. When the bell rang, you were supposed to run to somewhere. So in our case, when the bell rang, if it was lunchtime, of course you're going to the dining to eat. Evenings were the hardest. The bell rang, you're supposed to run and get water to shower the next day. And the worst part is, you line for all this time, get your water. You're supposed to walk with your water to class or everywhere you go, because if you leave it under your bed, someone will take it, and tomorrow you won't have water to shower with. When you wash your clothes, you can't just leave it on the hanging line. If you leave it there, someone will steal it. Tomorrow you won't have anything to wear. So it was so stressful. You have to carry your water everywhere you go. You wash your clothes, you carry them everywhere you go if you want to wear them the next day. Like, why do we have to live like we're in a military camp, like survival for the fittest? Yani masoja, we were like soldiers in that school. Everything of yours. When you're going to sleep and you have wet clothes, you put them on your bed where your head is facing so that no one can steal them. When you have water, you put them under your bed and you lock them with a padlock so that no one can steal them. And sometimes even when you lock them with a padlock, someone will still steal the water. Like, I don't know what was happening, but it was stressful. And for me, if people didn't steal clothes and we didn't have to go to the river to fetch water, imagine you go to the river, you fetch water, someone didn't even go to the river, and then you wake up in the morning, your water is missing. So you'd go to the river, come back, carry your water to go and eat, carry your water to go to class, carry your water to go back to the door. Like, where does it stop? It was stressful for me, like, oh my goodness. Like, the way I was so eager to go to that school, by the time I was done in Form 1, I was just ready to leave the entire school, because going to the river to fetch water, scrambling for water all the time, like everything was a scramble, everything was survival for the fittest. It was so stressful. And then adding missing home, like I was done with that school. I was done. I remember I went home one time and cried to my mom. I was telling her I wanted to be transferred from that school. I didn't like that school. But then I sit down and think, okay, this is taking my mom through stress. She went through a lot to get this school, and then again now I had to vumilia. It was stressful. I got used to it, yes, but my God, the first 2 years in that school was stressful for me. Like every time I saw exams, I was like, yes, I'm doing these exams, I'm killing it, and then doing this exam, nailing it, and then going home. Like I couldn't wait to go home. Every time I came from home and got to the gate, like nimefika hapo kwa gate ya shule, I could just feel my heart sinking, because I knew very well what I was about to get into when I entered this school. The stress that was about to befall me when I entered this school. Like whenever I saw this school, like we'll get a car, when you get to the school gate, you're looking at that school, you're like, whew, we are back here again, back to the hustle and bustle of life. Like there is where real life was. But like any other negatives, our school had a positive, and the positive was when it came to the drama festivals, music festival, the games, going out to play, going out to represent the school, other schools coming to your school, and the food. Although the food was boiled, it was all boiled, yes, but we found a way of making it better. So what I found them doing was this thing, they used to call it achela. Achela was onions and vegetable oil. So onions and some cooking oil, you wait for the onion to become brown, and then after that you take that cooking oil and plus the onions, you pour them in a tin, seal, and come with that to school. So every time we'll scoop some and put them in the food. We'd scoop some and put them in the food. And then we had blue band, and then we had roiko. Like I don't even know how we used to eat that, but we used to put raw roiko in our food, and it used to taste so good. So I'm just going to test out the achela thing. I'm just going now to cook and test out the achela thing. I have some leftover githeri, and I chemshed it and dried it out specifically to look like the one that we had in high school, but I think I might have dried it out so much.
Hands down, our school used to have the best githeri. I'm not even fronting. It never used to look like all these githeris with soup. No, our school had the best githeri. Ilikuwa imeshikana, and then when you add that achiela, it was nice, really nice.
So let's just go. I want to see if I can still eat this meal.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay, just let me be me.
Sidanganyani, I couldn't bring myself to eat the githeri with that achela like that. So what we're going to do, we're just going to return the githeri kwa sufuria plus the achela and just cook it properly and get it moving. So my conclusion on boarding school.
So it was not all bad. Like that school taught me skills, survival skills that I still carry to date. Like, it taught me so many things that at that time I didn't even know I needed all these things, but looking back at it, like, that school taught me a lot. And I remember those days, mandazi was banned in school, so when we went to the river we would buy mandazi and then hide it inside the water, and you pray that the water doesn't enter inside the mandazi. You hide it inside the water, carry it in your head, and go to school. We would sit down, tell stories, everyone would share their dreams. Like, I miss those girls. Like, we had some really good time. Like, even though we were going through different struggles in that school, even though we are having our own challenges, but all we had was each other. We encouraged each other during entertainment. That was fun. The dancing part, the Nairobi peeps would come with the new dancing styles, would dance, would have fun. There were movie days where we'd just watch movies and just relax and decompress from all the activities, all the hassles that had happened during the week. And that was on Saturdays that we used to have this entertainment. And the fact that the next day in the morning we were not going for dawn, we were just going to church, it was so refreshing. It was so nice. And then the games, and then the drama festival, music festival, all we had was each other, and and it was so good. Yeah, I learned a lot. So thank you everyone that I went to high school with. Thank you guys for making it bearable, for making it more fun and less stressful whenever life felt like it was crumbling in that school. Especially those days that we used to go to the river, man. I hated that. Those days that we scrambled for water, I hated that. Those days that you had nothing to wear to the parade because someone stole your socks or your skirt or your top, I hated that. But we live, we learn, we come out with lessons. So tell me in the comment section below, how was your experience like in high school? If you went to boarding school, a public boarding school, how was it like? What did you like? What did you hate? Leave your comments below. Click on that like button, subscribe, and let me see you in my next one. Bye bye.